Hey there, geeks! You're listening to Real Geek News.
It's our bi-weekly podcast where we geek out about movies, TV, and just genre entertainment in general.
I'm Kevin Andrew Rivera.
And I'm Raul Ceballos.
We got 2 weeks worth of news to talk about, so without further ado...
Let's get geeky!
Woo! Oh my god, we're finally back, Raul.
We're back, baby. We're back,
Can you
man.
believe it? My
It's
god.
been a long... how many months has it been?
I've been married and have 7 kids. That's how long it's been. But no, it's been since July, right? I think.
July.
Right? We left at the beginning of June or beginning of July.
Yeah, it's been about 6 months. It's been a long 6 months. But
Has it really been 6 months? Oh,
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Well, I guess we're here.
We're here. We're back. Good to see you guys again. Good to have you listening to us again.
Yes.
And
Please, don't leave us. Don't leave us, please.
Please don't leave us.
We're here. We're here for you.
It's gonna we'll have to rebuild our presence again, but we're confident that's gonna happen. We got a new show, right, Kevin? New format,
Yes,
bi-weekly
sir.
now.
Heck yeah, bi-weekly. We're here 2 times a month, baby, and
That's right.
possibly with our movie reviews as well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
We're
mean-
definitely gonna do some movie reviews.
We'll get those in later, but for
Oh,
now,
yeah,
we're getting ourselves used to this whole thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you listeners may have noticed even our intro is a little different. Well,
Yeah.
firstly, because we can't say we're a monthly podcast show anymore because we're not. Yay! I wish I had
Alright.
the yay button, but I don't have one. Maybe.
Yeah. There it is. that
Yeah, there we go. I still have sound effects. They're all exactly the same as before, so that hasn't changed one bit, except for like 2 things, which we'll hear a new thing today.
one.
But Raul, before we start our main topics here, for all the listeners, we don't have 10 topics anymore. These words are fun. We've got 5 topics now,
Right.
which is going to shorten our episodes. But because this is our first episode coming back, I wanted to do some quick thoughts really quick for you, Raul.
Mhm.
I want to know what you thought about the Ahsoka series, Secret Invasion, Loki, and the movie The Marvels. Just some quick thoughts. Did you watch Ahsoka?
I
Raul?
watched everything on this list here. I watched it all.
Yes!
I've seen it all. Ahsoka, I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was as horrible as a lot of people say it is. I thought it was fun. Now, if they never made an Ahsoka show, would I be clamoring for it? Would I be asking for it? No, but they made an Ahsoka show. And I will say it's been a while since I've seen Rebels. So that's one of the things. It's like, if you're not, I had to do like YouTube recaps of like Rebels and stuff and Clone Wars. Anything that connects to Ahsoka, I had to, because I wanted to just get into Ahsoka. Because for a while I was like, oh, maybe I should rewatch all the other shows. But I was like, nah, I don't have time. I just want to get into Ahsoka. So I did the YouTube recaps. So like, okay, I know where I'm at. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I do feel like Ahsoka, it's a show about Ahsoka, but it just seemed like Ahsoka was a very kind of a passive character to me.
Mm.
It just didn't seem like a lot of stuff was focused on her. A lot of it was about Ezra, and there was a lot of focus on the 2 Sith. The one of them played by the late great Ray Stevenson, and a lot of stuff about Thrawn is coming. We got to find Thrawn. And they focused a lot on Sabine and her kind of journey, which is cool. But I don't feel like they focused enough on Ahsoka on her own show. So that was, I don't know, that was something I feel like they could have done better with. But at the end of the day, it didn't have any kind of impact on me whatsoever. I was like, all right, it was kind of fun, and it was all right. I didn't think it was amazing, but whatever. It was what it was. We'll see what happens with Ahsoka, going further. They do kind of tease maybe there'll be another season.
Yeah.
Those are my general thoughts.
I feel like Ahsoka, it felt like half a season to me. Because it ends in a way where it's like, yeah, some things did get concluded,
Right.
but there were other things that were left so hanging for an entire season that I never got the results of it by the end. And by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh, it's just another cliffhanger. Oh, man, like, I want to watch more of this. I wish they would have done more episodes because I would have stayed for days. This is the first Star Wars show that really got my attention, mainly because they started talking about other universes in Star Wars.
Yeah,
like,
that was
or
interesting.
other galaxies.
Right.
That would have been so cool. Like, I would have. It was just so fascinating to think, what if there are Sith in other galaxies? Like, what if there
Mm,
are other beings in other galaxies that are bigger threats than Sith themselves?
yeah,
That would have been so awesome. So they didn't really give me that fully, but
yeah.
hopefully the Ray Stevenson character will make up for that in the next part. But
Well, we'll see if they recast or if they write his character out, or
they're gonna have to, dude. I mean,
they're gonna have
my
to what,
My,
recast?
they're gonna have to recast. My only thought is if he shows up in the next storyline, which I think they're connecting this all to like the movies.
Right.
They're gonna have to like oh, what's the word? Like they'll hire another actor, but they'll put a mask over him and they'll voice match Ray Stevenson or put like a voice effect or something so that it sounds like the mask changed his voice. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Something
Interesting.
like that, where he now he's the mentor of the student of the next big thing of the force that's trying
Hmm.
to guide him to create balance in the force, quote unquote.
All right. All right.
That's my only theory, but yeah.
If they can execute that well, everything sounds crazy, but if they execute it well, then
Yeah.
it's who's gonna
But
care?
like you, I wasn't very upset about Ahsoka. I enjoyed it. Like I thought it was a
Yeah,
good show.
that's
Again,
fine.
most fascinating one I saw based on compared to the other ones. I mean, Andor is always going to be incredible, but
Mm,
when if we're extending the universe now, I think this was a good way to really push that direction. I want to
yeah,
lean more into the other galaxies. That's what I want to do.
yeah. I also felt really quick before we move on. I also felt Thrawn was kind of weak. I felt he was. I didn't feel the threat.
Hmm.
He was doing a lot of just kind of standing around and talking. Is what I felt like he was doing, and it just I don't know. I didn't get. If you watch Rebels and you watch all this other stuff with Thrawn, and of course, there's some novels, there's canonical novels with Thrawn, and you see how much of a formidable force he is, how much of a threat he is. Sure, I mean, you get that from that. But if you haven't watched Rebels, or even if you haven't read the books, you're just gonna sit there and watch this and be like, why do I need to be afraid of Thrawn? Why is everybody afraid of Thrawn? He's not really doing anything. He's just
Right.
standing around talking the whole time. So I feel like they could have done better with Thrawn actually driving stuff more and being more of an active character. That's kind of I felt like they're just a lot of passive characters here. Really,
Yeah.
Ahsoka and Thrawn, the two people that need to drive the story a little more, were just kind of I felt like they were taking a back seat.
I think it would have been nice to see someone die in that
Mm.
storyline.
Hmm.
Like somebody from the light side die. Like even if it was just the robot that David Tennant voices. Um like just someone that could make me care because you wanna Agent Coulson him and
Mm.
that way everybody can join forces to attack, Thrawn, right?
Mm.
Um it I
Just
mean
something more to show that he's a formidable threat. Something he can do actively.
But also, it's like how out of all the other characters, like you can't kill Ahsoka because it's called the Ahsoka series, or
Right.
maybe you could. I don't know. That'd be crazy. But I'm pretty sure Dave Filoni didn't want to kill off his favorite character. You can't
No,
kill Ezra because we literally worked up the entire show
that
to
was the
get
whole
to
point.
Ezra.
Yeah.
So if he just was already dead, that would be kind of a red herring kind of thing.
Right. Right.
You can't kill Sabine Wren because she's a student.
Well,
You could see her character arc kind of building right there, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know who else they could have killed other than David Tennant's robot, but that's
Yeah.
that's it.
I I don't know. Just some or just anything to you can show us you can have him show be a threat in other ways too, not necessarily have to kill somebody, but yeah, they could have done better with that.
Well, moving from Ahsoka to the Secret Invasion series, I want to start off by saying I apologize to all you listeners who listened during our last few episodes when I was saying, "Oh my God, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread." It was so good until the very end. The
Mm.
very end, just they nosedive all the way down. Like all I'm gonna say is showing off your bicep. That's all I'm gonna say. Watch the series if you want. You'll know exactly what I mean when I
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, I know
I
what you
just
mean.
it was yeah. Any quick thoughts on that one, Raul?
It was weird. I'll be brief. It was weird. It felt rushed. The ending felt rushed. I thought they started out pretty strong, and kind of gave us the intrigue about like, ooh, what's going on, and ooh, I'm very interested now. And then it just, as it got closer to the end, there were certain things that weren't clarified for me. Like you find out certain people are Skrulls, people that you've seen in the movies before, and it's sort of unclear. Okay, when did they become Skrulls? It just
Mm.
it's important to know because then it changes your view on everything you've seen before with them. I mean, it's been out for a while. We'll talk about it, but I'm going to say it. Rhodey, Rhodey. You find out Rhodey's a Skrull. Spoilers. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Spoilers.
It's if you haven't seen it now, you haven't seen it, and I don't think you will, right? If you haven't seen it at this point, I don't think you will. So Rhodey, it's just unclear. Okay, when did he become a Skrull? Because it couldn't have been before the show, because he is such a different character on this show than he has been before.
Hmm.
He acts. There's something different about him, very oddly so. And if you're trying to tell me that because there were some rumors out there like, oh, after Civil War he became a Skrull. So you're telling me this is the same character in Secret Invasion that we saw in Endgame, Infinity War, and all that stuff? Because I gotta say no. He's a completely different character. The acting is different. He's more of an asshole on this show.
Mm.
And if that's the case, like how come how come he wasn't an asshole in Endgame and Infinity War? It's very different acting. So it's just very unclear when he became a Skrull.
I
And
think it was after Endgame, like between Endgame and this series. Like
it would
I
have
don't
to
think,
be.
yeah, because it would have been a little upsetting. But also like the problem with the scroll situation is like you could do that to any character and it'll cause us all to be mad about it. Because it's like if Scarlett Johansson's character was a scroll the entire time since Infinity War, then it's like, oh, then that's how you unkill her, right? I mean, that's how she comes back because she's actually just sitting in a hospital where scrolls have kept her there this whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh man. So, but what about all the relationship building? We're so invested in the relationships that she's built with everybody else that, like,
Kind of
when you,
undermines all that.
yeah, when you undermine it, that's a major problem with the scrolls. And I didn't think about that until the whole roadie thing started to happen, and
Mm.
everybody started talking about that online. Like, it only makes sense to me that it would have happened after Endgame, especially because of the relationship that Rhodey has with Tony Stark towards the end of Endgame when you see that moment where he passes away, and
Yeah. Yeah.
spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen Endgame,
Oh no.
Tony dies.
There's no reason to even give a spoiler alert. You guys are, if you haven't seen it, too bad.
Also, you're probably
You
a
know what
real
this
geek.
show is, right?
Yeah, you're a geek just like us. You know the spoilers of these movies. It's all
Yeah.
good. If you're listening to this show, it's probably because you know the spoilers already. But yeah, so I mean that's a whole nother thing. But I Marvel is going into a very specific direction, but I did enjoy Loki at the end.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough though, Raul, I enjoyed Loki for the ending, but I didn't like anything else about it.
Really?
The whole beginning I felt like was just this thing where it's like, I feel like it has to happen. All right, come on, just get on with it so we can get to the cool ending. And when it
Interesting.
got to the ending, I was like, now this is like quality work right here. Like this feels like a movie.
Yeah, which is odd because from what I've heard is that there was a lot of changes to the ending. Because of stuff we might talk about later on, some changes that may be potentially happening in the universe, in the Marvel universe, in these next couple phases, due to a certain actor no longer being involved.
Mm,
Uh, so yeah, I from what I've heard, maybe I'd heard that they may have changed the last two episodes to kind of wrap things up with Victor Timely. So it felt a little jarring. But I
right.
do like where they ultimately ended up with Loki, and I thought it was a very satisfying story arc.
Mm, yeah, and then we got the Marvels, which had Brie Larson and Miss Marvel and Kamala Khan, and that's the same person. Photon. I think I personally thought the movie was okay. A lot of people really hated it, but a lot of the people that hated it were the ones that just didn't like Brie Larson, or it was either that or it was that no one had seen the Marvels or Miss Marvel. No one had
Mm,
seen WandaVision because it's all on Disney Plus. So this is a movie that was kind of forcing you to have already seen these TV shows before you
mm,
hop onto the movie. So we have less of a connection to these characters when we see them on screen again for a trailer for this film. Um, so to me, it's like it was a kind of a no brainer that this movie wasn't going to do as well. I really liked Brie Larson's performance in this movie. I thought she sounded more like I thought she had a stronger performance and take on the character in this film than she did in the last one. Mainly because I finally got to see her open up as a character, as a person, um, for the other people that she's in these relationships with. So I thought it was fun. Any thoughts from you, dude?
No, I thought it was like you. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was the worst of the Marvel films. It's definitely not one of the. I think looking back on it, I think I like it better than Quantumania. Um,
Mm.
and it was very strong performances especially from Iman Vellani, who's just wonderful
Oh
as Kamala
yes,
Khan. But
love
yeah,
her.
I think one of the problems with this movie is you really had to have kind of kept up with the shows specifically.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, you're not going to know who Kamala Khan is. You're not going to know who Monica Rambeau is. And I think that may have turned a lot of people off. Also, I can understand if people just didn't like the movie on its own merits. It's
Hmm.
not a very strong movie, not a strong villain at all. It's just one of those things again with Marvel where they just cannot seem to find more often than not, cannot seem to find a good, compelling villain, or at least not execute it in a way where you feel like it's threatening. And I thought, yeah, this villain, forgettable. I can't even remember her name. You see, it's Darben. Darben. Ah, there we go. I
Oh man, I
remember.
was really thinking about it too. I was like, what?
Darben. Well, I remembered it, but yeah, but still, like I don't remember. Like it's just she's so flat, and she's written that way. I do think the actress, does the best with what she's given, but she's not given very much.
Fun facts. Did you know that she, I believe, is married to Tom Hiddleston, who
Tom
plays Loki?
Hiddleston. That's right, a
Yeah.
Marvel power couple right there.
Now, I'm not saying she got the gig because Tom Hiddleston was married to her or anything. Like, I don't think that's. I think she got it off her own merits. But like at the same time, what you were saying, there was a lot of flatness to her character. But I feel like that was more on the script than it was on the actress because she seemed like she was trying her best. She was doing what she was supposed to do. But like maybe they cut out some scenes or something. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen her side of the story a little more on the emotional side, but it is
Yeah,
what it is. There are some movies, Raul, I feel like where they focus more on the heroes being cool rather than the villains having a moral backbone kind of thing. And when you focus
right,
more on the heroes, sometimes that works. Like I don't know, if you watch Deadpool, we don't really care about the villain. We just want to watch Deadpool be funny and be silly and
right,
goofy. But like, would it help if the bad guy was interesting? Yeah, but like, if that gave us more time to look at Deadpool, great. Maybe that's what they were going for in this movie, but because of they're not Deadpool, it kind of turned the movie into a different thing. I don't know. But, I want to
yeah,
go back to what you said about Jonathan Majors and Kang, because this is actually very true. There is a big change in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now
right.
because Jonathan Majors is actually out as Kang right now.
He's
Uh,
gone. He's out.
Raul, this comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter.
Mm.
Would you like to read this topic or would you like me to do it?
I'll do it. I'll read it.
You
Let's see.
got it.
So, Hollywood Reporter, here's an article here. On December 18th, a Manhattan jury found Majors guilty of reckless assault in the third degree and guilty of harassment following a 2-week trial that stemmed from a March incident between the actor and his ex partner, Grace Jabari. Marvel has 2 courses it could take now. It could recast the part, although it is not clear how many actors would be attracted to a role from which one actor was so publicly fired. The other, of course, is to redevelop its plans and refocus on a brand new villain. While Marvel sources are mum, there is indication that the studio has already been doing just that. In November, Marvel hired Loki creator Michael Waldron to work on a new draft of what was once called Kang Dynasty, but is now being referred to as Avengers 5, according to sources. The
Mm,
studio has had months to plan for such an eventuality, and it's possible that Waldron was part of that course correction. Now, what this article doesn't include here is that it actually went on. Is that Marvel did go on to fire him, right? Because at the
hmm.
time this article was written, it was still unclear what Marvel was going to do.
Oh, yeah.
But they went on to fire him after that.
Right.
So
Well,
he's
because this
gone.
was like an immediate thing. As soon as they announced that he was guilty, Marvel was like, "Bye,
Yeah,
you're done, buddy."
it's pretty quick. Pretty quick.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
I think this is very interesting. Of course, we're wondering, of course, what is going to happen with the remaining phases. This is interesting. There's a change going on with Kang Dynasty and Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin, we called it. We call this. We call this. didn't we? In
Go on.
one of the previous things, I remember we were saying that we thought that Marvel's going to do away with Kang. Get rid of Kang. Get rid of
Right.
Jonathan Majors at least. But from the looks, well, it's not confirmed, but from the sources, and this is a Hollywood Reporter reporting on this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, they're big time. So they're reporting on this. They have sources that are saying that they brought in new writers for Kang Dynasty. They're not calling it Kang Dynasty anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like we're heading in the direction that instead of recasting Kang, they're gonna write him out. They're gonna write him
Mm.
out. But I remember in our previous episode we were talking about maybe Doctor Doom. Maybe they'll switch over to Doctor Doom. Now it's looking even more possible than before that might happen. Kevin, what do you
Yes.
think about all this here?
I'm gonna give you the devil's advocate on that. I'm gonna play the opposite
All
and
right.
say I think they should push through with Kang and continue to recast. I don't know if you've heard this rumor yet. This is a rumor, not facts. But
Mm,
Coleman Domingo, I believe his name was
mm.
this actor who's worked on Euphoria and a bunch of other shows. He's 20 years older than Jonathan Majors, and
Oh.
it's been a rumored that he might play Kang now and replace Jonathan Majors,
Mm,
possibly. And they could do like a Kang Prime kind of thing where he's the older, more sophisticated version of Kang. This is the ultimate bad guy, the big boss. Like you've seen all these Kangs, and this guy just steps in and wipes them all out and
mm.
says, "Now that I've collected all of their information, I am the perfect Kang, and now I will destroy the Avengers." So
There can
there's
be only
also
one.
there can be only one. Very, very Highlander. But yeah, I think they could take it in that direction so well, and I love that because if you have a more sophisticated Kang the Conqueror who can actually instill fear in us, like that's pretty cool. Also, Coleman Domingo has talked about this in interviews where he's like, "I want to be a villain in a Marvel movie. Like,
Mm,
bring me in," which
interesting.
everybody basically says that, I'm pretty sure. Well, like
Yeah.
him specifically, if that's the rumor that people are going with right now, and he could replace this guy, I mean, hey, let's do it. But also, I want to talk about this. The last time we spoke about Jonathan Majors and this whole court case, my point of view was, listen, I just want us to take the information for what it is, and whatever the verdict is, that's when we'll start talking about Jonathan Majors again and everything that's going on, because it's such a heavy situation, man. Like clearly him and his now ex-girlfriend have had a very toxic relationship, and I wish none of this laundry would have been thrown out in front of us, but it was, and it makes Marvel look bad with Disney and stuff like that. So it only makes sense that Marvel would detach themselves from him, whether or not the guilty thing would have been as severe as they thought it could be. Guilty is guilty, and that looks bad to Disney. So we could dive into the
Right.
information on what the whole court case ended with, but at the end of the day, what matters is that he was found guilty, and Disney doesn't need that anymore. They need to move on because they don't need that to be their Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's not part of their universe anymore. Let's replace, move forward, get Coleman Domingo in there, and I'm very comfortable with the idea of Michael Waldron coming back from Loki. You heard me though talk about Loki. I'm not the biggest fan of the beginning of that new season, but the ending gave me so much hope for him because if he knows what a cinematic scene has to look like, he wrote it out really well in that last episode. Like he really built it up. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can come up with for a 2.5 hour film. That and also, I think the original writers of those movies are still involved or something like that. Or I'm not sure what the full details on that one are, but you
Well,
know,
not at least not. Oh God, who's the one? Jeff Loveness, because he
yeah.
was gonna be.
Oh,
So
right,
Jeff
right,
Love, they fired Jeff Loveness from Kang Dynasty and brought in Michael Waldron, who was already writing Secret Wars anyway. So honestly, I think it just makes more sense because if you're gonna follow up Kang Dynasty or whatever it's gonna be called now, Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, it only makes sense to have the same guy write both movies. So
right.
there's this consistency. So it does sound like it's possible maybe Kang Dynasty maybe will be reworked into being, instead of being its separate movie that leads into Secret Wars, maybe having to be, maybe them just splitting up Secret Wars 1, Secret Wars 2. That's just to keep the consistency. You got the same writer. Um, so yeah, it's really interesting to see how this will pan out. But that's the thing. If the sources are to be believed, because I do think before I thought I agreed with you. I thought, yeah, maybe they'll just recast Kang, and it makes no sense to just like scrap everything now and just try and find a new, a new storyline or whatever. I mean, they could do Doctor Doom, they could do, but it would make more sense if you just recast and just continue with the plan you had from the beginning. I would have thought that before, but now hearing all these new things coming out from the sources and all this stuff that they might be, of course they fired, Jeff Loveness, hired Michael Waldron, and that is fact. We know that.
Mm,
It's leading me to believe that maybe they are changing some stuff up. You know,
mm,
maybe not getting rid of Kang completely. They could do both. Honestly, they very well could do both. Recast Kang so that they can continue on a little bit longer with his storyline, but ultimately he's not going to end up being the big bad.
mm.
Maybe it's a mix of the two.
My only thing is, I just don't want to see Doctor Doom come in just at the last minute as like, ah, haha, I
Right,
was the villain all along.
right.
Because I want to take some time to get to know Doctor Doom. I wouldn't even be mad if Marvel decided to do a standalone film of Doctor Doom. Like,
Hmm.
give me his background story, because that guy has such a fascinating background story. There's an entire comic book about it.
Right.
Where they give him so much time to breathe that I feel like to kind of wedge him into this movie series right now, just as a okay, well that guy's gone, so let's just put this dude in.
Yeah.
Like, give me what he's worth, like give me something worth watching for him.
There
If
is the risk of it feeling jarring.
yeah, like dude, I wouldn't be surprised. Like let's say they did do a Doctor Doom thing, and that's the main villain now. If they went in that direction, I think they should be adding extra films now between now and Secret Wars, if that's the case, because I want to see more about this character and flesh him out before he kind of steps in. I know, like, Thanos was able to kind of just have his background story be told throughout Infinity War, but you also had a couple of extra movies to kind of give you a vibe of who he is as a character, you know? Um,
Right.
so I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting thing. If anything, they'll just keep on delaying everything as much as they can. But you know what else is being delayed, Raul? Unless you want have anything else to add.
No, I just yeah, I will say there are some unannounced dates between now and Secret Wars. They
Right.
do have, so they still haven't announced those yet. Who knows if they're still a thing, because Marvel, as we know right now, is constantly changing schedules and redoing stuff. They're in a place right now where there's some instability, and they got to get their feet back. They got to get the back on their feet and figure this out. So who knows what's going to happen? It's honestly, it's weird. There is still some unknowns. Other than we know Deadpool's coming out this year, Deadpool 3.
Deadpool.
But
That is all that I'm living for this year, man.
me
That
too.
is
Me
the
too.
best.
I'm so excited for Deadpool. Everything else has been pushed off. Everything else has been pushed off. But those are my final thoughts on that. What is our next topic, Kevin?
Our next topic here is about Andor. Going back to Star Wars here, Andor Season 2 is delayed. This comes to us from IGN. Andor Season 2 will no longer premiere in August 2024, as Disney and Lucasfilm have not included it in their schedule for next year. Disney's list of films and shows premiering in 2024 includes those with specific dates and those without. But Andor is absent from both lists. Star Wars is otherwise present with The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, The Bad Batch Season 3, and Tales of the Jedi Season 2, all listed with the vague 2024 release window. Andor Season 2's August 2024 premiere was announced at Star Wars Celebration in April 2023, but the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA is basically what it's trying to say,
SAG-AFTRA.
SAG-AFTRA,
SAG-AFTRA.
and Writers Guild of America, WGA, strikes likely pushed it back. Its team was active on the picket line, with writer Bo Williman even starting a one-way out in New York City to mimic the show. The second season of the Diego Luna starring show, which will connect the dots between seasons 1 and Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope prequel Rogue One, was reportedly just weeks away from completing production before the strikes began. Disney hasn't shared why the show will no longer premiere in 2024. I know why it probably won't premiere in 2024, because if
Hmm,
you look at the list of projects that they've got coming out next year already, they've got so much.
it's a
Like,
lot.
they've got to do that, but also they're juggling with Marvel projects as well. Because, this is all owned by Disney. Disney has to juggle, like, okay, now that I've got everybody attached to Star Wars, I can't put out a Marvel project because we're watching Star Wars right now. If I take them away from that, then it takes away from the audience viewership for us. So let's just do that first, and then now this season we're all going to focus on Marvel again, and then we're going to focus back on Star Wars again. There's already so many things. Look at this: The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, The Bad Batch season 3, and Tales of the Jedi season 2. My God, that's insane. But I think that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably the reason why they just don't want to stuff us too much. They also, if you look at Marvel and you see they had She-Hulk, Moon Knight, they had Soldiers, Winter Soldiers, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They had like all these different TV shows, WandaVision, Loki. Everything was coming out one after another to the point where it's just exhausting after a while. You don't want to overstimulate the viewer. I mean, listen, I'm a nerd. I'm a big old geek, so I'll watch everything, Raul. I don't care what comes out when.
Same. Yeah,
But, like,
same.
we're talking about regular audience goers, right? Like regular people who are sitting at home, flipping on Disney Plus. They've got other shows to watch. They don't have all the time in the world to watch every show at the same time. So when you're not a total geek like us, you don't have the time to do that all the time. So how do we redirect your attention to get to this point, this new show? I mean, again, that's my assumption if I were a Disney brain and I was working for Disney.
Not a bad theory. I mean, sure, you want to spread everything out as much as possible. You don't want to cannibalize, the audience watching your content.
Totally.
But I mean, I guess of all. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what do you think about this, Raul?
I mean, I was just about to say, of all the projects, it is curious that they would delay Andor of all the projects that they got coming out, because they finished production right before the strike. They finished production. I mean, I see no reason why they couldn't have done some post production or something something along those lines. So I do think it's odd that of all the projects they got, it seems like Andor was pretty far along. Why delay that one and not any of the other ones?
Right. Yeah. And also, I wanna point out the list of these other projects one more time: The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, The Bad Batch season 3, Tales of the Jedi season 2. I'll be honest, for me, the only one I'm really excited about is The Acolyte, just because
Me too. Yeah.
I love the idea of it being about Siths, like just a bunch of Siths. Are you kidding me? That's gonna be so cool. I think it's like the origin of the Sith and stuff like that. Or I don't know what the full details are, but
Not the origin, but it'll take place. It'll take place a little bit before the I think the Phantom Menace. Just getting
right.
seeing the earlier days of the Sith and how they were operating and stuff, but not the. I don't
Like
think it's
High
the
Republic
origins.
kind of era kind of thing.
Yeah, High Republic. I think if I'm correct in remembering that,
I
this
mean,
might be
listen,
in the High Republic era.
as long as I get a scene where like you're in a cave and all the Sith are like trying to use a democracy kind of tactic to decide what they're all gonna do, but then it ends with all of them just trying to kill each other, I'm in. Like I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see armies of Jedi fighting armies of Sith at some point. Like that would be incredible. I think that'd be so cool. I don't remember if it's Acolyte that was this. Do you remember when we reported back in like Disney D23 when they were talking about Star Wars? And there was one show where it's like it's gonna be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but with Star Wars.
I think that was it. I think it's the Acolyte they were
It's the
talking about.
Acolyte.
Yeah, yeah.
If that is the case, I'm in. Like that's what I want. I want to see like a Game of Thrones level kind of storytelling for this thing. And the best thing about the Acolyte is that it's going to be its own storyline. Like it doesn't have to be connected to all these future films that come after it, in the timeline. It's its own thing. So I'm so pumped to see a new story taking place way back in the past when all the Sith were around. That is so cool, Raul. Anyways, then you have the Skeleton Crew, and I'm like, it's the
Yeah.
Goonies. Goonies in space. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, that's the only thing that keeps me interested in Skeleton Crew. I'm not as excited about that as the Acolyte, but I am interested in Skeleton Crew because of how it was pitched as being like Amblin kind of style of film or whatever in the Star Wars universe with these kids, and you've got the early Spielberg Amblin stuff, and they of course kind of reproduced that in Stranger Things. With the kids, kind of, it felt, especially that first season, felt really Spielbergian, like a mix of Spielberg and Stephen King. which I enjoyed the vibe and how the kids got along and the chemistry they had. But I really appreciate that, the key ET, Goonies, that kind of feel. So just from that alone, I was like, okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, like I say right now, I'm like, whatever. But I'm pretty sure as soon as I start watching it, I'm gonna be hooked. Like it is gonna be fun. I'm sure it will be. But then you got the Bad Batch season 3. I think that's cool. But I'll be honest, I never watched the original series of the Bad Batch, so I haven't seen season 1 and 2.
Me either.
I just haven't had time to watch it. But
Yeah.
you'd figure the two of us would since we're voice actors. Like we.
One of us. You'd think one of us at least.
Man, but then you got Tales of the Jedi, which is another voiceover related thing. It's another animated series. I really like season 1 of this show though, because they
Yeah.
have you watched this one? This one's
No,
so cool.
no, I haven't watched it yet, but there were a couple things that intrigued me, as far as with the teasers that I saw, and I think there was a story in there about Count Dooku and a
Yes.
younger Qui-Gon Jinn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that was in. I'm curious to see that.
They had it was a really cool through line of all of Count Dooku's history before Episode 2, or Episode 1, really before Episode 1.
Right.
They told it so well. Like I can't wait for season 2 because if they're gonna do more stuff like that, I'm in. Do it. But again, the Acolyte, that's gonna be my boy right there. It's gonna be incredible. But again, Andor season 2, am I sad that it's gonna move on to maybe 2025? Sure. But at the same time, I know that the first season was so good that if they need to take time to make sure it's perfect, do it. Just go make it perfect. I think these other shows have been in progress for years now to the point where it's like, yeah, if I think we've taken enough time for these shows. They're probably good to go. So entertain me this year and I shall be happy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here. I'll be here all week. Yeah, good stuff. Good. Well, then, let's move on to our next topic here. We got Matt Reeves is working on both the Batman universe and the
Hmm.
DCU universe. Raul, would you like to take it away?
Sure. The article here is we got Deadline. They say James Gunn is confirming that Matt Reeves is not only working on expanding his The Batman universe, but also developing a series set within the new DCU.
Say what?
DC Studios co-head is answering more fan queries on social media and confirmed that Matt Reeves is producing an Arkham series set in the Batman universe within the new world Gunn and Peter Safran are developing. A fan asked Gunn on Threads if Reeves is working on more projects in the Bat universe, in the Batverse, as they say, aside from the Batman Part 2, the Penguin series, and the Arkham series. Another fan asked for clarification about the Arkham series set in the new DCU. Gunn and Safran are working on the set in the new DCU. Gunn and Safran are working on called Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. And this is his response here. He says, yes, we love Matt as a director and producer, so he'll be producing stories both within the Batman universe and within the DCU, Gunn said. Very interesting stuff.
Interesting.
And I think it's I do think I remember before this wasn't Matt Reeves, didn't Warner Brothers do an exclusive deal with Matt Reeves to have him sign on to do projects with them? Something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming maybe that's probably part of it, is that he gets to do more DC projects. And I'm hoping. I mean, I take that as James Gunn and Peter Safran love what he did with the Batman, and I love the Batman. I thought it was a great movie. And a lot of people did like it. Made so much money at the box office. Was very successful, despite also, I believe it was also released day and date on Max. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Or a very short window before the theatrical release and the Max release. But regardless, it still did very well at the box office. And, so there's a lot of good faith in Matt Reeves right now, and the stuff he's done already with the Batman. And so it's kind of cool to see him being brought into the DCU as well. And this is an interesting one, an Arkham series, which is pretty cool. We'll be seeing a little bit more of what goes on behind closed doors at Arkham, at least in the DCU. And I'm excited about it. I think it's hey, he's great. Matt Reeves is great. I love a lot of stuff he's done. Bring him onto the DCU. Why not? James Gunn has faith in him too. I have faith in him. Let's see what he does.
The one thing I'm wondering is it's interesting to me that James Gunn got Matt Reeves to do the Arkham stuff, and so Matt Reeves is literally creating the wilder characters for James Gunn, but he's gonna make his own more realistic characters for his movies. So I'm wondering how he wants to balance that out.
Yeah.
Does that mean
How do you separate? Yeah, it's true. Like if I were him, if I were Matt Reeves, it would be kind of stressful to kind of do. Okay, I've got my Batman universe, and then I've got the DCU universe. How do you separate those out and make sure you kind of give them different feelings and different vibes?
yeah?
I don't. That would be challenging.
My thing is, I bet you $1,000,000 James Gunn is just doing this to convince him to just bring your Batman over to our universe. Just do it. Come on, man. So
Ah,
after a while, he's gonna be like, oh, I could see the correlation. Oh, it'd be kind of cool if I could introduce Killer Croc, and it'd be kind of. Oh, dang it, James Gunn, you got me now. I'm in. And then Robert Pattinson has no choice, and he has to join in. Like, what if the Matt Reeves universe is he's doing this trilogy that James Gunn agreed you can do the trilogy, you can make your own Penguin series and whatnot. But when your series is over, when your trilogy is over, that Batman goes into our universe.
Battinson is ours when you're done.
What if? What
Yeah.
if?
I don't know. I mean,
Not a
stranger
bad
things have
idea.
happened before. It would be weird though because they've clearly set up the Batman to have a certain vibe. But again, we don't know what the DCU, the upcoming DCU, is going to be like. I
That's
know
true.
maybe they might be able to mesh it pretty well. So who
Gods and
knows? Who
monsters.
knows?
Yeah, so I think I gotta I don't know if you remember this, Raul, but we made a deal a while back that if
Oh
Pattinson,
God.
do you remember this? If Pattinson joins the DC, no, I was about to say MCU. Batman is Marvel. Hi, Brock. If Batman joins the DCU, and it's Pattinson, uh,
Right.
then I don't know what I was supposed to win, but if I lost, I'm supposed to dress up as Robin next time that
Yes.
happens. That
Yes,
announcement is
I
made.
remember this. You're supposed to wear the tights. You're supposed to dress up as Robin.
So I'm bringing it up because I'm holding myself accountable. I will do it. I will. It'll
I'm
be,
s-
and now we're on camera, so like you will see it on YouTube
That's
if
right.
you see this.
That's right. That's right.
But
I don't know. I'm still pretty confident. Get your tights ready. I'm
yeah.
telling you. Get your tights ready.
Well, listen, I'll end it with this though, because I really think James Gunn should have gotten rid of every other Elseworld thing and just done his universe. And I also think he should have wiped everything clean. I think he should have done everything from scratch. He should not be bringing back Peacemaker. He should not be bringing back any old actors that he was already working with that were part of the DCEU. I think you should have just started clean. Get
I
rid of
agree.
Pattinson.
Yeah, I agree. It's still messy. It's still messy.
So I am worried that because of the way Matt Reeves' stuff is working and his like, dude, you're gonna have to compare his Batman to Matt Reeves' Batman, and it's like that's just something. Why do we need to do that for these guys? You're clearly we can't have a Matt Reeves, Pattinson Batman if he decides that he's gonna have to change it up, right? So like, what is the opposite side of the Matt Reeves Batman? I guess it's a Batman who's a dad who has Damian Wayne, right? It's the only reason I could see them doing that. But it feels so early to be doing that already. But he's going to be in the same age range as the new Superman, who's like, I think he's like 29, 30 years old right now. So by the time his movie comes out, he'll be 32 ish. So we need a 32, 33, 34 year old Bruce Wayne to come in. Pattinson, I think, plays a 30-ish-year-old Batman. So that's why I'm like, just put him in. Just get him in there, you know?
I do have as much as I don't want them to include the Batman universe into the new DCU. I do have a theory that maybe they could. I mean, we are in the DCU when we see Batman in Brave and the Bold. He's already been established. He's older. The Batman films are dealing with his early days as Batman. They could play it off as though the Batman trilogy, whatever that ends up being, is technically, they'll maybe retcon it as technically being a prequel to the DCU. And
Mm.
then now when we get to Brave and the Bold, we're re-catching up, we're catching up and getting reacquainted with the same Batman. Now they could either recast
Ah,
with an older actor, or they can just, I don't know, age up Robert Pattinson a little bit, give him some older makeup, or do, some deep fake or whatever, something like that. And they could keep the because there's nothing right now telling us when the Batman takes place. There's
right.
no really. It doesn't say, oh, this is 2000, early 2000s, or this is, who knows when this takes place. I mean, obviously not in the 60s because it doesn't look that old, but you can kind of play around with it, to maybe, say, like, oh, this took place before the DCU. It's kind of a prequel. So I don't know. You could play around with that, I think. But
Yeah,
again, I don't want to see them, I don't want to see them bring it in. But if they did, that could be an angle.
I would love it. I'm just saying that's just how I feel about it. But I also we only know that I think this is year 2 Batman, right? Robert Pattinson's
It's year
Batman.
two, right? He's the second year of being Batman.
That's all we know. So I mean, if they did bring it into this timeline, like if they're trying to keep it up as like it's 2024 in this universe, I guess it would make sense. They've never really specified what year it is. You're right, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Hopefully James Gunn comes up with something because this feels like a mess at the moment. And I think once
Yeah.
it's either he's gonna be in it or what I've said before in previous episodes. Once the Batman's done, then that's gonna disappear, and then all the Elseworld movies are gonna be just out of the way. Because I know they're also working on that new Joker movie, the Folie à Deux with Lady Gaga. I'm
Right. Right.
If they do a trilogy of that movie stuff as well, then they'll do the third one, and then James Gunn will be like, okay, that's enough. Let's go back to my universe. Let's hyper focus on my stuff. I think he was being a little too nice when he decided to let everybody have their way and not just do it his way. Um, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. The writing stuff is a very complicated thing. And speaking of new writers, Captain America 4 hires a new screenwriter, my guy. Um, I think you read the last one, right? Let me read this one. This comes to us from Variety. Marvel Studios has added screenwriter Matthew Orton to the production of Captain America Brave New World, ahead of the superhero sequel's plans for additional photography sometime in the spring. The Walt Disney Company announced a series of delays to its theatrical release slate shortly after the conclusion of the SAG-AFTRA strike. Along with Deadpool 3, Thunderbolts, and Blade, Brave New World was among the group of Marvel productions impacted, moving from a July 26, 2024 date to September 14th, 2025. That's almost 7 more months for the studio to work on the fourth Captain America film, which had already completed principal photography prior to the actor's strike. Reshoots are a commonplace practice for blockbuster tentpoles, particularly Marvel productions. Orton's previous credits include the World War II thriller Operation Finale and TV work on Devil's Peak and Marvel's Disney Plus series Moon Knight. Dallin Musson and Malcolm Spellman have screenplay credits on The Brave New World. Both writers worked on Marvel streaming series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So listen, I mean, this is a very last minute thing. It feels like they're just getting this writer to come back just to do the quick cuts, the quick edits for the ending when they're doing reshoots. They needed new dialogue or something. But it confuses me that they're not just bringing in the original guys that have been working on this already. Is Was it that the writers that are still there recommended this guy to come in to help them, or was it that Kevin Feige was not happy with the writing style and this movie is turning into a garbaggio mess? Like what do you think's happening here, Raul?
I honestly don't know. I don't.
All right,
I don't
there
really
it
know.
is. That's
No,
okay.
I mean, honestly, I think this is just kind of another another just collateral damage from just everything else going on. We had the writer strike, we had the actor strike. Movies are getting pushed, they're getting delayed. People are moving on. I think this is just. I mean, especially with Marvel, we've seen so many movies pushed, so many movies delayed, just because of the disruption of in the entertainment industry with the strikes. I think this is just another. They've shifted dates around. They've pushed stuff back. I wouldn't be surprised if they need to kind of go back into these movies and retweak them so that they fit better. So that they fit better as far as chronologically how things and events will come to pass in the next couple of phases. And of course, when you've got an interconnected universe, if one movie is affected, all the other movies down the road are affected. So It's just a matter. I think it's just, hey, nothing to see here, people. It's just normal. We're redoing all our schedules, and we just got to rewrite stuff so that it all fits.
Right.
Um, why they hired a new writer, I don't know, and it could just be. I don't. Is the original writer still around? I can't remember. Was that?
I guess they're still a part of the whole thing, but they're just bringing this guy in for the reshoots, for the
Maybe
writing
just,
of the
and they
reshoots.
do this. This happens with a lot of movies. They'll usually bring in another writer, sometimes at the last minute, to do what they call punch ups, and just kind
Mm,
of add things here and there after they've seen kind of the principal photography has been done, and they take a look at the dailies. They start editing stuff, or put things together. A lot of times they'll include it in reshoots, where they bring a new writer in just to kind of add more and kind of punch it up. I mean, that's what I think. Um, unless we hear down the road that the original actor, the original writer got fired,
mm.
then I might start wondering, this might be a little bit more bigger changes than we thought.
Right.
But yeah, of course, with the reshoots also, that's normal. Marvel likes to budget time in for reshoots at the end. That's just what they do. So I don't know. I don't think this is as big of a deal as it may seem. I think it's just part and parcel with what Marvel's doing right now and trying to get their footing back.
Also, I will mention, that there is the whole idea of I don't know anything about this movie. Like there's so much drama going behind it because people are saying like, oh, this movie's gonna fail. It's gonna be so bad. It's flopping. Why are we saying that when we don't even know what the story is yet? Like we hear all the time that they're doing reshoots. Like that's what we just quoted here in this article, that reshoots happen all the time with these movies. Maybe Jonathan Majors and the whole Kang thing has affected the storyline, in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know if that's actually true. Just because Captain America, I feel like this is its own pocket. It's its own storyline that's doing its own thing after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? Maybe it's trying to connect to other things now, but we don't know for sure, which is actually kind of a nice feeling, Raul. Like, I feel like I like the idea that I don't know everything about the story just yet. Whereas as opposed to other Marvel films, sometimes we just know all the plot line for some reason. This one, I genuinely have no idea. All I know is Red Hulk is going to be in it. Harrison Ford's going to be the Red Hulk, and
Well,
now
do we know he's going to be the Red Hulk? We know he's going to be Ross. Do we
That
know he's actually
that's
going to be her Red
true.
Hulk?
That's true. It's been is more speculation and rumor, but it's almost an expectation. I feel like by the fans, right? Like we're kind of expecting, if you're gonna
You never know.
replace,
Yeah.
like if you're gonna bring Harrison Ford in, he better do something really cool, like other than just be the same character that the other guy played all the time. Like he's got to transform. Don't you want to see Harrison Ford Hulk up and turn into a Red Hulk? That'd be so cool to see. But
Yeah, I mean it also gives Harrison, because Harrison Ford is way up there in age, so he doesn't have to do much as far as when he hulks out. He just comes in, does some voiceover, gets scanned,
yeah,
and then they take care of the rest. Maybe they'll have some maybe they'll have Sean Gunn come in and do the motion capture for Red Hulk.
exactly. Get Sean Gunn in there.
Get
That poor
Sean Gunn in
guy.
there.
But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting thing. I think if you're changing stuff around writing wise, you also got to look at everything else that's coming up, right? I mean, the whole Secret Wars thing and the Kang stuff, all the writers that are changing up for that, and whatever that we talked about earlier today. Like it's all changing up. Like Bob Chapek is out of the way. Bob Iger's back in. He's trying to help Kevin Feige reconnect all the dots, make everything make sense again, do less projects for Marvel because the less you have, the more quality work you can put into it. So, I want to just trust that that's just how it is. Like, this is supposed to be happening, and it's probably going to be for the better. Nobody wants a movie to be bad, right? I mean, nobody wants it to fail. We want everything to succeed. Um, let's just see how much scotch tape or masking danger tape, construction tape. I don't know what I'm saying. How much of it you need to make this movie work, right?
Some crazy glue.
And I feel like I heard a lot of the similar stuff to the Marvels. And then I went and I watched the Marvels, and I didn't hate it. I thought it was an enjoyable
Mm-hmm.
film.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a blockbuster for general audience goers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how it felt. But let's see. Let's see where it takes us. But man, Disney is really taking over because we got one more thing here to talk about, and it's about Disney yet again. Steamboat Willie's Mickey Mouse is now public domain. Raul,
Hmm.
take it away, my friend.
All right, so we got this article from Time Magazine here. Disney has fought to keep its copyright of the famous cartoon character as long as possible, lobbying the U.S. government to extend copyright production before it was originally set to expire in 1984. Many lawmakers agreed, and in 1976, the law was changed to allow owners to retain copyright protections for the duration of the life of the author, plus an additional 50 years. In 1998, Disney once again successfully lobbied along with other entertainment companies to extend copyright protections to life of the author plus 70 years for a maximum of 95 years.
Jeez.
But in January 2024, the copyright on Steamboat Willie officially expired, and Mickey Mouse is now officially in the public domain. We'll talk about it. There's some stipulations there. We'll talk about it. This means that now anyone in the U.S. can use the Steamboat Willie version. There you go. Steamboat Willie version of the Mickey Mouse character without fear of copyright infringement. Copyright laws vary by country, so in some places, Mickey remains protected. Since the start of the year, a trailer for a Mickey Mouse horror film, Jesus, has been released, while other digital creators have edited the footage from Steamboat Willie to make it sound as if Mickey is using profanity. Whew, weird. Nevertheless, Disney still retains some protections of the Mickey Mouse character. Versions of Mickey Mouse that were released after Steamboat Willie that feature his quintessential red shorts and big eyes remain protected. Well,
That's a lot.
this is so strange. I mean, we knew that this expiration was coming up. We've known this for a while, but it's so strange that this has happened, and it's weird to think because, for years it's like public domain stuff. You're like thinking, oh, Wizard of Oz, or like, Moby Dick, or like all these, really old things. But Mickey has been like, Mickey is like such a more recent character, in recent decades and stuff.
Yeah.
And to finally hear that this version of Mickey, the beginnings version of Mickey, is now in public domain is so mind-blowing to me. And of course, as the years go on, it's just this version of Mickey. As the years go on, we'll start to see the other versions of Mickey start to go into the public domain as well, in addition to like Donald Duck and Goofy. So we're hitting this. This is the start of what is to come in like a series of events that will lead to all these versions of Mickey slowly going into the public domain. This is crazy. What do you think, Kevin?
I think it's interesting that we have friends who are starting to take advantage of this as well. Shout out
Yes.
to our buddy Brock, who is a YouTuber slash
Brock
voice
Baker.
actor. Brock
That's
Baker,
right.
very talented guy, super funny, and he's done his own YouTube videos now based on this stuff, which we were just talking about earlier today. He was copywritten the moment he posted the video because I guess YouTube
Yeah.
isn't up to date yet on
They
the
slapped a
fact that it's.
copyright claim on him, yeah.
So
Which
come
is
on, YouTube, let's
it's
fix
just
it.
it's still so new, right? This is when this episode airs, it will be January 6th. Today it's January 5th, and this just happened on the 1st. And so it is still so new. I don't doubt that it'll take a while for like YouTube, because I'm sure they got this, they get these they're auto kind of programs that automatically flag these things. They have this stuff kind of in place. So I'm sure it's going to take a while for YouTube to maybe go in there and tweak stuff, and so it's really weird. Yeah.
Definitely. That and also, let's go back to these movies that they're doing. Like they're
Oh
working on a
God.
scary movie. I've seen scary games now of Mickey Mouse. Like you could tell people knew this domain thing was about to take place really soon. So
Yeah.
they were like, why don't we start working on this months in advance or a year in advance so that
Yeah.
by the time the domain is done, we can put it out.
They didn't waste any time. They didn't waste any time. Everybody jumped on that. Everybody planned to use the Mickey Steamboat Willie image. Everybody was like circling like vultures, like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Here
Yeah.
comes the date. Here comes the date. Bam, I'm doing a horror movie. Bam, we're doing a horror video game. Like, everybody just jumped right on it. Nobody's wasting any
Well, like,
time with
it
this.
makes sense,
Weird.
right? Like, as a business company kind of stuff, like business-wise, money-wise, you want to make money when you mostly can. So the moment this thing happens, people should be like ready to go with that stuff so that they
Sure,
can.
sure.
It's what's hot
It's
at
just,
the moment. But like, ask me in another year if another Mickey Mouse game like that will matter. No, 100% no. It's
yeah,
only popular right now because of what's going on at the moment.
yeah.
But also, I want to mention another thing, which is the fact that Disney and a bunch of entertainment companies were able to extend the copyright stuff for
Right.
95 years. Like, again,
It's
listen to this. It's
insane.
protection to life of the author plus 70 years for a maximum of 95 years.
That's crazy.
Insane. Like,
They wanted to protect as long as possible. Disney wanted to protect Mickey.
now we know that it's, if there's copyright stuff from other stuff, whenever we find things that are back in domain, like we live in the generation where like this stuff is not very common, and when it does happen, we're like, oh my god, we can all use Winnie the Pooh now. Like, that's cool. We can all use Mickey
Now,
Mouse now.
Winnie the Pooh is now public domain. That's right.
That's crazy. Like, in another 100 years, there's going to be so many IPs that will be in this exact type of setting. People are going to be able to talk about Goku and Dragon Ball Z in like another 100 years, kind of thing, like, or maybe not 100 years. Maybe actually the original creator hasn't passed away yet. So, there's a bunch of different IPs that we know and love now that
Right.
if you're listening to this show 100 years in the future, for some reason, how did you get here? Welcome. Well, I hope the future's bright. You probably have way more stuff in your domain. Like, you can use this stuff now whenever you want and not worry about being copywritten like our buddy Brock. Sorry, Brock, but we love you. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting thing. It goes to show how much power big companies also have, which is a little on the scary side, but at the same time, it's a money thing. We're in this.
Yeah. It feels icky. It does feel a little icky.
We work in a mixed economy kind of thing. It's a weird icky thing, but thankfully we have laws to control that, so that's another thing. But yeah, that's Mickey Mouse, man. That's Mickey Mouse. I hope I get to see people do like music videos now with Mickey Mouse in black and white, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Get ready to start seeing already all the YouTube videos coming out now using it, all the movie announcements, and get ready. This is just the beginning.
and I've already seen like a bunch of GIFs that people have made, or like artwork that people are starting to sell as Mickey Mouse. So you can make money now off of Disney product, technically, with that type of domain. However, like it said in the article, the future styles and versions of Mickey Mouse are still protected. So that's
For now.
for now. That's an interesting thing to look at. But it's also weird for us because this character is so relevant to us that you can't imagine that it's just free to use when Disney's clearly still using Mickey Mouse right now as we speak. But it was the same thing with Winnie the Pooh, right? But we can talk about like, the Wizard of Oz. That's a domain thing now. We can talk about like other things from like the 40s, and the 1920s that we don't discuss anymore. Now it's just up for grabs. So there is that. But I don't know. That's all I got on this topic, Raul. Anything else from you, man?
No, again, just like get ready. We're gonna start seeing it all. And then, of course, as the years go by, oh
Here we
boy,
go. We're gonna start swearing, everybody.
I'm telling you, man, they've already done it. Mickey's now swearing. It's so strange. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. This will be interesting to see what happens now.
Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, that is our 5 main topics of the day. However, we've started a new segment this series of ours
Yeah.
called Rumor Reel. Let's hear that new sound effect I got for us.
Now settle in, folks. It's time for the rumor reel.
So, if you're not sure what this is all about, also I'm so
beautiful.
proud of that sound effect.
That was beautiful.
So this is a segment where we talk about the rumor of the month, something that isn't based on facts, but merely fun speculation. So our rumor of reel of the month is Super Smash Brothers movie? Question mark?
Huh?
So this comes to us from Game Rant. Following the success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Illumination is reportedly pitching Nintendo an Avengers-style Super Smash Bros. Film. Illumination, an animation studio under the Universal Studios umbrella, is the same team behind Mario's super successful 2023 feature film. Despite mixed reviews, the Super Mario Bros. Movie was a massive success at the box office, where it became the highest-grossing video game movie of all time. It's not just successful by video game adaptation standards, either the Super Mario Bros. Movie is simply one of the highest grossing animated films ever made and Illumination's highest grossing project to date. After the Super Mario Bros. Movie joined the billion-dollar club, it was only a matter of time before Nintendo followed up with another big screen debut. The video game company went in a bit of a different direction, however, as Nintendo announced it was teaming up with Sony for a live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Still, that's just one iron in the fire for a company that is absolutely loaded with popular IP. Given the success of Nintendo and Illumination's partnership so far, it isn't hard to imagine that the two could team up for more animation projects in the future. So, here's what I have to say about this, just to start off. If you're gonna do an animated Super Smash Brothers, then what are you doing a live-action Zelda movie for? If you want
Yeah.
Link to be part of the Super Smash Brothers movie, doesn't that mean you're going to have to split that up now and do a live action and an animated version? Or is Link going to just show up in the Super Smash Brothers movie as an animated character based on the live action character? How does that work?
Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah,
Just a
like,
mix of live action. Are you asking me?
I mean,
Are
I'm
you?
throwing it
Yeah.
out in the air. If you want to, if you want to answer, you can. But
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure you finished with what you were gonna say. You completed your thought.
well, let me finish with this thought then.
Yeah.
I think I really would love to see a Super Smash Brothers movie, but animation wise, that means it's gonna take us years. Like, dude, like Marvel started in 2008 and they got their live action Marvel's Avengers movie in 4 years by 2012. So 4 years it took. The Super Mario Bros. Movie took 2 years to make, maybe 3 years technically, with all the pre-production stuff and all the animation behind the scenes stuff that we didn't hear about. Like, it takes a while to make animation stuff happen. Heck, your brother is an animator. I mean, I'm sure he can attest
Yep.
to that kind of
That's
thing,
right.
right? So that's the kind of thing where it's like, if you're gonna make animated movies and you're gonna pitch a Super Smash Brothers movie, I don't think we're gonna see a Super Smash Brothers movie until like 2033 or something like that, Raul. Especially if you're gonna do, like, I mean, let's see, like, you got the Super Mario Bros. Movie, then you do a Metroid movie or something like that, then you do a Kirby film, you get the Zelda movie out there, and then you're gonna do an Avengers movie kind of thing.
Look, who's to say though that that's how they're gonna do it? You never know. I mean,
That's true.
they could come out with Smash Brothers sooner. They could come out with Smash Bros. Sooner and then spin all the characters off into their own films.
Yes.
You know, who knows? Who knows?
So I don't know. What else do you think about this, Raul?
Well, I was gonna say, I think what you're asking about, like if they're gonna do a Legend of Zelda live action, how are they gonna do? Are they gonna do two different versions? I say yes. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think there's gonna be the Legend of Zelda live action universe.
Mm.
And I think for this, they're going to have the animated Nintendo universe as being like a separate thing. And I mean, I don't see any. I wouldn't be surprised if they just had a new Link, an animated version of Link that they include in this Smash Bros. Film.
Yeah. Also, there is the fact that, like, every now and then a Marvel Avengers movie will introduce a character in that Avengers movie. So there's a good
Right.
chance that we don't even need an animated Zelda film. We
Right.
could just put Link in the Smash Brothers world in that movie. But, like, who doesn't want to see an animated Zelda film, dude? That would look so cool. Even the live action one, they've talked about, like, potentially, oh, it might look like Studio Ghibli, but if it was live action, just give me that in 2D. Like, give it animated for me. Like, I want it to be a cartoon. I don't want it to be live action if you're going to copy Studio Ghibli. Come on, But
You might have your cake and eat it too, because now that I'm thinking about it, okay, you've already got your live action Legend of Zelda coming out. You got plans to do this animated Smash Bros. Film with all the all the other characters, starting with the Super Mario Brothers movie that came out. I mean, you're gonna have to have, unless they just don't include Link at all. I don't know, which I don't know how they do that.
I don't think they would do
No,
that.
you're gonna have to have an animated Link, because yeah, it would. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they might throw in the live action Link in there, and it will be like Roger Rabbit or something. But I don't know. I think it would be more appropriate to use an animated Link. All that being said, once that's all said and done, I don't see how Nintendo isn't tempted to then spin off that Link into its own series, where now you've got the live action Zelda series and an animated Zelda series. I don't know. It's weird because it's like, how if you're Nintendo, how could you not ignore that and not spin it off into an animated? But then it's like, how? Well, then what do you do? Like, how's that going to work? I don't know. It's weird. There's a lot of questions. I will
Yeah.
say in general, I think this is just, I don't know. This is kind of one of those things I roll my eyes at, because it's like, oh, great, of course. They want an animated universe too, or they want a connected universe too. Everybody wants their connected universe. Everyone wants their shared universe. Of course, they're salivating to do Smash Bros. Of course. I just think this is one of those putting the cart before the horse kind of things.
Mm.
I don't know. It's too early to talk about Smash Bros. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool, but let's focus on other things. Like, you're working on the Legend of Zelda movie. You're working on more Mario sequels. Um,
I
I don't know.
I would understand why they're talking about it so early, because of the fact that it takes so long to animate. Like I would like, to me it's believable whether or not this is a rumor. Like I believe that they probably did have these conversations at some point. However,
Oh, of course, yeah.
if they go through with it, I don't know if that's going to happen just yet. But also, dude, I remember like maybe like a year and a half ago or something, you and I reported that Nintendo bought their own studio for animation. So like,
Yes,
it's
yeah, they did.
interesting to me that they decided to keep working with Illumination. Maybe they had made this deal with them prior to, this whole thing. But like, now that they're so stuck with Universal that they kind of have to do more of that with them, right? Isn't that how that would work? I don't know what their contracts look like. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's a whole
Yeah,
nother thing,
yeah. I mean, sure. We'll see how it pans out. I just want to see what happens with the rest of this stuff first. Legend of Zelda, Mario. That's kind of where my head's at right now. I'm not at the point where I'm even thinking about a Smash Bros movie.
Right.
It just seems so intangible at this point, at least for me. I just want to see what they do with the stuff that they've got, a little more recently coming out of the gate.
Your daughter will basically be in middle school by the time that movie comes out.
I mean, she very well could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would not be surprised. And do you think Chris Pratt could hold a Mario voice for the next 10 years? Oh my God, I don't know.
That's yeah.
All right, we're
Yeah,
gonna end it there because I don't
that's
want to
a
think any
thing.
further. But
Yeah, yeah. All
but
right.
good for Chris Pratt if he ends up doing stuff like that.
Good
Good
for
for him.
Chris Pratt.
Good for Chris Pratt. He's like Aquafina. He's voicing everybody now, right?
He's everywhere.
Speaking of Aquafina, we got a bunch of movie trailers that came out, and because this is our first episode in a long time, we normally what we're gonna do is we'll talk about the last 2 weeks of news kind of stuff, right? But this
Mm-hmm.
episode, if you've all noticed, we've talked about things that have happened a couple of weeks in advance, maybe a couple of months ago type of news. So for our movie trailers, we have similar types of things. We're gonna talk about maybe I put down here 5 trailers that have come out a while back now that could still be relevant now. So, we do have Kung Fu Panda 4, we got Godzilla X Kong, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Mean Girls, and the Mickey Mouse domain Mousetrap, Mickey's Mousetrap. Um, Aquafina's in Kung Fu Panda 4. I know that much. That's where my segue was right there. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, Raul. I'm not excited for Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah.
And
I'm not either.
when the first trailer of Kung Fu Panda came out, I thought it looked really cool as a kid. Then the second one came out, and the trailer kind of was like, and I was like, And then I watched it, and I was like, oh no, this movie's still pretty good. Then the third trailer came out for the third movie, or the what am I saying? The trailer for Kung Fu Panda 3 came out, and it looked really garbaggio. And then I watched the movie, and I was like, it's kind of garbaggio right now. But then this one came out, and the trailer I felt like was just so poorly made that it wasn't. It was aimed more towards little kids and their parents more than it was about like this is going to be a good movie. But I could be mistaken. Like I could go in and watch this movie and it could be just as good as the original too. I don't know. Do you feel that same way about this trailer? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's a mishmash of all the other Kung Fu Panda movies. There's nothing really that kind of moves the needle for me other than like, oh, well, the bad guy's a shapeshifter now and will shapeshift into all the other past villains. Cool. What else? I don't know. And it's just everybody, Jack Black coming back, which I love Jack Black. I think
Yeah.
he's great as Poe, but it's just this. It looks like more of the same. And yeah, you're right. The trailer wasn't edited. The trailer didn't kind of get me excited about the movie and kind of show me like, oh, what drives me to see this?
Right.
What's unique to me? What's you know I don't know. It's fine. I'd have to see another trailer. I really would have to see another trailer. It just right now looks like all the other Kung Fu Panda movies.
Well, can I also add that Jack Black has recently taken the title of video game champ because he literally does the voice now in almost every video game thing. He's Bowser in Super Mario Bros. He's about to be the new main character for the next Minecraft movie that's coming out, which we'll talk about that later on, maybe in 2 weeks from now when we come back for our next episode. He's also going to be in Borderlands, the new Borderlands
Right,
movie that's coming out.
Borderlands. Yeah.
That's a live action, but he's doing the voice of a robot. Like he's just in. He's all in on the video game stuff because he knows that that's what sells. And if you go on social media and you look up what people say about Jack Black every time they make the announcements for him, it is the complete opposite of what you would hear if Chris Pratt got the role. Chris Pratt, everybody's like, "Oh no, not again." But then Jack Black comes in, people go, "Yes, my life is completed." And it's, yeah, it'll be cool. Like Jack Black, I think he should slow down a little bit in the voiceover world a little bit because I don't want him to turn into Aquafina, where she's just in everything. But that's just me. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I love Jack Black with all my heart. I just want him to succeed, you know. But Raul, we also had the Godzilla Kong movie trailer, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Mean Girls in the Mousetrap. Any of these get your attention? Like any of these really strike you?
Well, there's a couple. There's the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes looks really cool. It looks gorgeous visually. And yeah, it's interesting to see where I was curious, when the first trailer would come out, what is the vibe going to be? What's the kind of and yeah, for sure, they set it years and years and years into the future. The world is starting to look closer to what it looked like in the very original Planet of the Apes film from the 60s. You've got the humans are more savage looking and they don't really speak as much, and they're kind of yeah, they're being hunted by the apes and stuff, very close to kind of how that original movie ended up being. And there's it's funny seeing all the buildings now with all the the vines and the weeds and all the greenery kind of overtaking it. The earth is kind of overtaking all the man-made stuff now.
Right.
And it's cool to see like all the ruins and of things like that. So yeah, and it looks yeah, like I said, it looks gorgeous. Still don't know quite what the movie's about, but it looks like there are going to be warring factions of apes now. Everybody's trying to I guess fight for the kingdom, right? The kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. There's probably going to be some infighting going on and trying to see who will come out on top. That's my guess based on what I see in the trailer. But yeah, who knows?
Well, also, fun fact about that: the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is going to be directed by the guy who's possibly directing the new Zelda movie, the live-action Zelda. So, if you're wondering how that movie's going to do, how Zelda's going to do, watch this movie when it comes out and you'll see the direction style that this guy has. And maybe it'll work, maybe not. I don't know. But you could tell he was, he's probably like the next hot thing kind of thing. And the company basically just must have presented this guy to Nintendo and were like, look what he's working on now. Do you want him to be your director for Zelda? Okay, sure. Maybe. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Well,
But
if that's the case, then visually, because from what I've seen from the trailers, like the landscapes and everything looks really beautiful. So visually it looks stunning. So that I mean, I can get excited about the potential of Legend of Zelda looking like that. You know, having those
Totally.
kinds of stylistic visuals and stuff like that. So that's cool.
Yeah, and also, I want to jump up to Mean Girls. I want to shout it out just because. Listen, Mean Girls, we all grew up watching it, kind of thing, you know, and it's almost like a cult classic. It is a cult classic. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
But the fact that they're remaking this movie is supposed to be a musical, and not once have they made that clear in any other trailers.
Yeah.
This is their final trailer, and they have
Yeah.
not mentioned that it's a musical. There's been a little bit of singing, a little bit of dancing, but they don't present it as a musical film.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
so dumbfounded by that because, like,
It-
you're selling this movie. Why would I want to go watch a
yeah.
remake of Mean Girls when I have Mean Girls right here with Lindsay Lohan? That's like the best version.
Yeah.
I
Show
don't
me
need a
what's unique. Show me what's unique about this version.
yeah, like, dude, give me more of that Regina George singing her main song kind of thing. Like, give me stuff like that, and I'm in, you know. But I won't be surprised if this Mean Girls movie doesn't do well in the box office because they have not sold it very well. You know, I feel like the advertising, they're just basically trying to convince you that they sing a little bit, you know? No, the whole movie's a musical. Like, how do we not? And if it's not a musical, oh man, this is another story. But
Well,
anyway,
it is a musical, but just show me the musical numbers. You know, show me some of that. Yeah. I'm sorry. You
no, no, go ahead, you go
I
off.
was gonna say it looks like the same damn movie. They even have the same actors coming back. You know, you got Tina Fey, you got Tim Meadows, you got
That's it.
well, not all the same actors, but you got at least a
All
few
the
of the
teachers.
adult the teachers, right? And so all the girls are different are different actors, but you got some of the same cast coming back. And it just looks like the same movie because, like you said, they're not presenting what's new about it. At least
Yeah,
not in the forefront like you should. You should really lean. If this is what's unique about this movie is that it's a musical versus the original. Lean into that. Show us that. Don't kind of hide it in the background. Yeah, like you said, there's like shots here and there of them dancing and stuff, but I feel like they're not really capitalizing on the fact that it's unique being a musical,
yeah.
and showing everybody this is why you need to come see this movie. Oh, it's Mean Girls, but it's a musical this time. Oh, okay, that's different.
Right.
I'm not getting any of that from the marketing here.
Well, hopefully they make the Mousetrap movie a musical, which they definitely won't because that's a scary
Oh,
movie.
you want to talk
which
about that? You want to talk about
you
that?
go on ahead and lead that one because I know how you feel about it.
Well, no, I mean, so listen, the vultures are coming in, man. Everybody waiting for Mickey to go into public domain. So we got our trailer for this first. Of course, it was going to happen. They did it with Pooh. They're doing it with the Grinch, and here we go, Mickey Mouse. The trailer for the Mickey's Mousetrap, right? And it's an independent horror movie about a bunch of teenagers who are hunted by a guy dressed up as Mickey Mouse, or at least the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse.
Oh yeah.
And you see clips they show clips from the original short, and you see this guy running around killing these teenagers uh, with a Mickey Mouse mask on, Steamboat Willie mask on, and it looks like shit. It looks terrible, and it looks like just a really badly made student film. The acting is flat. Nobody. I'm not getting any kind of energy from this movie telling me like this is going to be a good movie. Nothing about it. It looks exactly like what it is. Just somebody wanted to be like, let's make a horror movie. Oh, Steamboat Willie's going to be public domain. Let's just slap a horror movie together. Who cares? Oh, you want to be in it? You want to be in it? Let me ask my friends. Oh, let's just, whatever. No, let's just make a horror movie. It's going to go in public domain. No thought into it. Nothing whatsoever. It doesn't
Just a
look like
movie
they want,
grab.
doesn't look like they actually wanted to make it a good movie. They just wanted to make a movie just because it's public domain
And
now.
you know they were probably also copying the formula of the Winnie the Pooh movie because they made
Right.
a
Blood and Honey.
Pooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood and Honey was another scary movie that came out almost immediately after Winnie the Pooh came into
Right.
domain. And I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's pretty bad. But they're also working on a sequel, and they wanted to put Tigger in there, but Tigger was actually not in the original books. I
Yeah,
heard.
they're gonna have to wait a little longer before Tigger goes into public domain.
Well, then also the last one was Godzilla X Kong. So not
Mm,
versus. Now they're working together. Uh,
right.
they're like a Voltron putting together to fight a giant monkey.
They're a team now.
And I'll be honest, this movie trailer came out right as I went to go watch Godzilla minus one.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla minus one. First of all, it is incredible. Oh my God, that's the best Godzilla movie ever. You have to go watch it. All of you listening right now, go watch
I want to see
Godzilla
it
minus one.
so bad.
Oh my
I'm not
God.
really that entrenched in the Godzilla lore, but the trailer and everything else I've been hearing from friends and people online about this movie, I got genuinely excited about it. It's gotten me genuinely excited. So I really want to see it.
We got another buddy of ours called Kevin, who he is a huge Godzilla fan, and he is very hard to please with these Godzilla films. But he came out of the theater bawling, is what he
Yeah.
said to us.
Wow.
So you know that's gonna be a good Godzilla movie.
He's
I
yeah.
cried like 3 to 4 times throughout the movie, so it's emotional. You care about the humans as well as Godzilla. It
Right.
is fan freaking tastic. So
Yeah, I
go
gotta see
watch
it.
that movie. But
But
speaking of other movies, oh wait, no, let me finish
but you
this.
were gonna talk
thought.
about Godzilla
Yeah,
Kong.
yeah. I almost went right over it because this
Yeah.
kind of proves my point, which is Godzilla minus one was so good that it made me overlook Godzilla X Kong, and so I see that now. Now we see the difference between Japanese versions of Godzilla and American versions, which has
Yeah.
always been a difference. Japanese version of Godzilla is always trying to be like a metaphor for like the atomic bomb and like the horrors that Japan had to experience, whereas the American Godzillas is always like big dinos hitting each other, yeah, action, action. Like yeah, they both technically do that, but like the American films really lean in on that. So this one's about Godzilla and Kong fighting another monkey and just having a big war underneath the earth. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Just some other monkey.
so I guess I will say, in one sense, like I do love the idea of me crying to a Godzilla movie, but then in the other sense, I guess it is really cool to be like, ah, to see giant kaiju's fighting it off. That's cool. So if you know what you're looking for in that type of movie, then go watch Godzilla X Kong. I'm gonna go watch it because I'm definitely down to see that. But man, if we're talking about quality of writing and emotional driving points, minus one. You got to watch minus one. You have to. It instantly made me want to go watch the original Godzilla movie, which, oh my God, what a difference. It was night and day from the 1954 to the 2023 version. Um, yeah. Any last thoughts from you, Raul?
Yeah, no, what I think is cool about this is that you get a little bit because I will say I definitely enjoyed these series of Kong and Godzilla movies starting from the very like what 2014 Godzilla, and I
Mm,
really enjoyed Godzilla versus Kong, the first Godzilla versus Kong. I think it's fun. It's not, it's not like anything Oscar worthy or whatever. It's just like fun kind of action romp, destroying, two monsters destroying things. I think it's fun, and I'm honestly looking forward to this Godzilla X Kong for the same reason. I'm gonna have a good time.
mm,
But it's so cool. I think it's great that you have different flavors of Godzilla, right? If you want to see a little bit more big budget kind of, you know, impact, big action Godzilla, you got that. If you want to see a little bit more serious, down to earth kind of drama Godzilla, you got that too. So I think if you're a Godzilla fan, it's pretty cool right now because you get kind of like you get some options.
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
100%. So,
looks fun. Looks like
get
it'll be
out
fun.
there and go watch Godzillas. Any of them. Any of them will be great. I mean, well, I heard from Kevin that, the ones from like the 80s and 90s aren't the best, but like, go support, go look up online best Godzilla movies of all time, best
Hmm.
King Kong movies of all time, and just watch like the top 3 or something. And you'll have a fun time either way. It doesn't matter what type of movie it is, whether it's American or Japanese, you'll have fun. But going on to our movies that came out segment. Again, because this is our first episode, there was a lot of movies that we've seen since July. So instead of doing the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks worth of movies that came out, I'm just gonna. I wrote a list of everything I've seen. I don't know if you've seen all of these, Raul, but let me list these off.
some of them. Yeah.
We got Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One, Joyride, Barbie, Oppenheimer, TMNT Mutant Mayhem, Blue Beetle, Bottoms, Dumb Money, Blue Giant, The Marvels, Hunger Games, Godzilla Minus One, incredible, and The Iron Claw, fantastic. Let me just, I gotta shout out The Iron Claw because that movie will make you bawl your eyes, and it is the first time that I said out loud, never in my life did I think Zac Efron would make me cry. Damn, did he do a good job doing it in this movie. I broke down by the end of the film, and I tried really hard to hold it together until that very last scene at the end of the movie. Oh man, you got to go watch The Iron
A
Claw.
lot of people are talking about potential Oscar buzz with Zac Efron, maybe getting nominated for something.
Yeah, I mean, definitely go watch The Iron Claw if you have the chance to do it. It is, I think it's currently in theaters right now. Godzilla Minus One is no longer in theaters, so you're gonna have to wait for it to show up on streaming or DVD or something. Hunger Games, yeah, it was Hunger Games. You know, it was a movie. The Marvels, you've already heard my thoughts on that one. Blue Giant, anime film, jazz music. Go watch it if you've never been into jazz. Go watch it if you're into jazz. You will love jazz by the end of this movie. It's fantastic. Dumb Money was about the stocks and the GameStop stock exchange that happened a couple years ago. I thought it was fantastic, and it's got the guy from what's his name? The guy who plays the Riddler in the Batman. I'm blanking out on his name.
Paul Dano. Paul Dano.
Paul Dano. That man is incredibly gifted, and he does not get the attention he deserves. He's a fantastic
Pete Davidson
actor.
too is in it.
Pete Davidson's in it. That's true. Then you got Bottoms. I almost don't remember Bottoms, but I was told it was a funny movie. It was not that funny to me, but you know, to each their own. I personally didn't recommend it, is what I would say.
I've never heard of this movie, Bottoms.
I almost looked at that list of my movies that I'd seen and saw Bottoms, and I went, "What is that?" And then I looked at the pictures and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's why I don't remember that." I blocked it out of my psyche because I just wasn't really too into it. Blue Beetle, if you like the DC Universe and you're trying to get into it, this is a movie. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I actually enjoyed Blue Beetle. I mean, I don't think it's anything to write home about, but it was actually a fun. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was, and that's probably because I had low expectations going into it. Because as we know, DCEU is dead. It's officially dead. Aquaman: Lost Kingdom officially came out.
Oh yeah,
right. That's another one that came out, and I haven't seen it yet. I don't know about you, Kevin. Have you seen Lost Kingdom yet?
No, dude.
I haven't heard good things about it, so I'm not in any rush to see it. And it's sad the DCEU has died off with a whimper. Really, it's kind of sad to see.
But also, like, that movie was never meant to be the ending of the MCU or the DCU.
That's true. That was way early in development before.
They should have ended it with. If they had just ended it with the Flash, I would have been okay with that. End it in a way where you literally see a literal flash of light in front of your face at the end credits, and that's it. Like the DCU's over. DCEU is done. Like a new timeline, reboot, soft reboot. Hopefully the MCU does a good job doing that eventually when they decide to reboot their stuff. But I don't know. That's another conversation for another day. Anyways, Blue Beetle, though, I was rooting for that movie. And I think we're biased, Raul, because we're both Hispanic. We're two crazy Puerto Rican guys who really wanted this movie to succeed. Yeah. And I was just kind of bored of it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, I enjoyed the first half of the movie, but then after a while, I was like, I don't know. This movie's not working for me. But
yeah,
I'm guessing you had a different experience.
I thought it was I thought it was fun. It wasn't like the best, superhero movie I've seen in a while, but I don't think it was terrible. I thought it was fun. It was very lighthearted. I appreciated the family dynamic, and
right.
I appreciated the acknowledgement of the culture, of the Latin American culture, and being part of his strength. And I appreciated that part of Jaime's strength is his family. And that's something you haven't really seen before with a superhero movie. And I don't know. I thought it was nice. I thought it was cute. Cute. I mean, I thought it was really heartwarming. And it didn't do well at the box office, obviously, and I think we knew that because just the reputation right now that DC has not been great. So we kind of figured it wasn't going to do very well. I appreciated, though, the director the director of the movie, and I sorry I forgot his name, but he included in the end of the movie. He's from Puerto Rico, and he
Oh
included
yeah.
at the scene, the very last battle at the fort. That's El Morro. That's El Morro that you can
Oh.
see. He filmed it there at El Morro, and you can see the little fort there. It's unmistakable, and you can see it in San Juan, the capital of Puerto Rico. And I appreciated that, so I thought that was really cool. But
Yeah, that's true. That does get brownie points, but it's like for us, it's so biased from us because that means so much to us, you know.
right,
Like
right, yeah,
but I also
the general
understand.
audience doesn't really go
Yeah,
over
like
there.
there's movies that are like, representation really does matter. Like, dude, when we see our own people in movies, like I freak out when I see that stuff. Just seeing a Puerto Rican flag on screen makes me feel very seen. But at the same time, I do want to see a good story. And if you're gonna represent me as a person on screen, make sure that it's very strong storytelling that I'm gonna be like, yes, everybody's gonna love this. This is gonna be awesome. Um, but yeah, I guess I had a hard time feeling that way towards this movie. But
Yeah, sure.
outside of that, though, we also had, or I don't know if you saw this one, Raul. TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Did you watch
We
that
saw
one?
it together.
Oh my god!
We
Well, I
saw it
saw
all
it.
together.
I saw it like 6 times
Well, yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
maniac and I have no life clearly. But I guess it was a good movie. It was. I think the third act needed a little bit of pacing, fixing kind of thing. But other than that, it's a good kids film. Make your kids watch it. I think Seth Rogen, anytime he produces a movie, it's always going to be fun and really down to earth and good. Um, but that's just me. That's how I feel about it. Any thoughts on that one before I keep going here?
No, I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was amazing. There are some things I had kind of issues with, and like kind of how things are being adapted that I'm not sure what's going to happen, like with certain characters. But it was fun. It was the I will say the voice cast was on point. Like
Oh yeah.
especially the four turtles, they have great chemistry.
Mm,
Great chemistry, which I was a little nervous about because I know they're like actual kids voicing the turtles. And so I was a little nervous about how it was going to come through and the perform. These kids do such a great job, and they got a great chemistry, they genuinely made me laugh
yeah.
watching the turtles. Just kind of be kids, and be goofy, and you see them, their performances, and you see the turtles interacting with each other, and you're like, yeah, that's how we act. That's how kids act. That's how teenagers act.
I was
You
like,
know.
who'd have thunk that if you actually get teenagers to voice the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles,
Who knew?
it would sound really cool. I mean, we're so used to hearing adults play teenagers for this series that it's a nice change of pace. I like it. It's a little breath of fresh air. But now we also had Barbenheimer. So Barbie and Oppenheimer came out at the same time, and I always tell people watch Barbie first and then Oppenheimer, because if you watch Oppenheimer and then jump into Barbie, you'll be so depressed. Barbie will not cheer you up. It will make you feel worse because Barbie pretends like the world's okay, and you're like, no, I just watched Oppenheimer and the world sucks. Like, what are you doing?
You think it would be the opposite if you end with Oppenheimer, because that's what happened with me.
I
I
want to.
watched
I want to
Oppenheimer
be.
after Barbie.
I want to be as happy as a clam when I watch Barbie, and then I want to be brought down to the regular world again when I watch
You're a
Oppenheimer.
glutton for punishment, sir. That's weird.
Which one did you like more, Raul? Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Which one did I like more?
It's a
God,
hard comparison because
those two movies
they're
are
very
hard to
different.
compare. I mean, I enjoyed both of them. I'd say just because I don't know. I enjoyed both of them, but if I had to pick which one I would watch again, I would definitely watch Barbie again. I loved Oppenheimer. I thought it was very, very well done. The acting is great. It was very compelling. However, if you asked me if I wanted to watch it again, I'd be like, no, I think I'm good. Like just because of the heavy nature of the movie and stuff like that. If I had to choose between the two to watch it again, oh, I had such a fun time watching Barbie. I want let me get that lightheartedness again. So I'll
Mm.
watch that again. But yeah, great all around. God, Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling, just
This,
he makes me laugh so much. He's the best.
this is
I think.
this is definitely the movie that caught his marketing ability. Like he has like a new brand now because of this movie, and it's
Yeah,
it's like he's always been a charming, funny guy, but like now we actually got it on camera for a movie. Whereas all the films he's normally done is always just him being so serious all the time. So now he's actually got this comedic chop to him on screen that we can start branding him with, and that's why they're doing like that new Fall Guy movie with
Yeah,
him.
that which looks fun.
It looks so fun. Like I'm totally down to see it, even if it's bad. Like it looks funny. Like it looks like I'd enjoy it. It's a very blockbuster looking film. But if you want to talk funny though, you got it. You guys got to go watch Joyride. Joyride is hysterical. It is. I think it's the funniest movie of 2023. Just a little summary without spoiling anything. It's an Asian American cast where the main girl is trying to find her mother and journeys through Asia to find her and hangs out with her family and friends and stuff like that along the way. And it's hysterical. It's a really, really funny movie. And there is representation in that movie. And it's very good storytelling and very, very hilarious. So go check that out. Did you watch this one, Raul?
I actually did not watch it, but I've heard great things about it. I've heard, I did hear it didn't do well at the box office. It was kind of one of those movies that gets overlooked,
Yeah.
but is actually pretty good. So I have not watched it yet, but I hear great things, and I gotta sit down at some point and watch that movie and check it out.
Well, maybe that'll be your movie of the month thing when we do that next week. Maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. I know we already gave each other movies of the month last time.
Oh yeah, no. Like when we watch, because Raul still has to watch Toy Story 4, and I still have to watch The Prestige.
Right. This was from
After
months ago.
after we're done talking about those movies, then this might be your next one.
All
But
right. All
we'll
right.
see. But what do you think about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1? This is our last thing here on our list.
All right. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, lots of fun. I love the Mission Impossible movies. I think they get better as they go along, and I thought the most recent one, Fallout, I thought that was a lot of fun, and I was looking forward to Dead Reckoning Part 1. The trailers have looked great. I mean, undeniably the action, of course, is awesome. Tom Cruise does not mess around. He wants everything to look real. He wants it all. And it shows. It shows. I genuinely got stressed out with all the action scenes. I mean, it's just crazy. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, though.
Hmm.
I do think it's a bit of a step down from the other movies, mostly because just there was so much, they just got better and better and better. But this one, the story gets a little convoluted, and there just wasn't as much for me that was compelling about it as there was the other ones. And I thought there were some slow parts in the movie, and yeah, but I did enjoy it, but not as much as the other ones.
I 100% agree with everything you just said. I think my favorite one is Fallout, the previous one.
Yeah, yeah.
When Henry Cavill came in, I was like, dude, this is the song to the trailer of Fallout with the "Down with the friction, both know you need 'em." It's just it was so
Yeah.
incredible. But the storytelling, I binge watched all the Mission Impossible movies before we got to watch this movie, and sure enough, comparing all of them together, Fallout's the best one in my opinion. But what's his name? Blonde guy who passed away from second movie? Villain, blonde villain
Oh,
who
I don't. Original.
guy who died in like he was in Hunger Games as well. He was in Oh
Oh
my god,
God.
it's killing me.
What
Who's the best villain of Mission Impossible, Raul?
the best villain of Mission Impossible? I don't know. I'd say I really did enjoy the guy from the fourth and the no, not the fourth, the fifth and the sixth one. The one who was the guy behind the syndicate. I
Oh, the
cannot.
Syndicate guy, he was pretty good actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know who you're talking about though.
it's killing me
The
that I don't remember the guy's name.
blonde guy.
There's the blonde bad guy from the second movie who he learns Tom Cruise's name, like the character's name, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go after your wife, and I'm gonna have to, kill
Oh
her."
no, from the third one, you're talking about God. Oh
Yeah,
God,
right.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Oh
No, that
man,
was great. That's actually one of my that's up there as far as my ranking of the Mission Impossible movies. I think that's my second favorite one, and it's a lot of it is because of Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I think he's the best villain out of all the
Yeah,
Mission
I agree.
Impossible
He is
movies.
the best villain.
But
Yep.
I think the Fallout film is my favorite movie of them all. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. All right, man, I'm sorry. That took me way too long to figure that out. But thank you.
We got it.
My good man. Oh, for all you listeners, it is so hard to remember things on the spot when we're live, okay? So let me just give me a second here. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. That guy's great. But you know what? With all that being said, wait, before I say this next part, this is probably going to be one of our longer episodes, and we're starting it off pretty long.
And
Normally our episodes will be like an hour 10 minutes at most. This is probably like an hour and a half, something a little.
They'll be much shorter.
Yeah, because we just had so much to cover from what we've missed out on. So from now on, we've got 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about going forward. So.
And I know we've been advertising the going forward. They're going to be shorter episodes, but this one we need to just spend a little more time on, just because there was just so much that we missed, due to the strikes, and we were on strike, so we couldn't talk about anything. We had to put the show on ice for a little bit, but we're just doing some catch up for this episode, so it is going to be a little longer. But bear with us from here on out. The episodes we'll just do 2 weeks worth of coverage, and they'll be much shorter.
And if they're not, then Raul owes you all money. And with that, we made it to the end. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can follow us on all social handles at Real Geek News.
I've got no money, though.
Yes, you do, you son of a... Follow us on Real Geek News, Kevin A. Rivera VO and Raul Ceballos VO on all social media handles.
That's right. And of course, we are on YouTube. And hey, hit the like and subscribe button to YouTube channel. We got our video. We're doing video now, actual video. You can see us. You can see our faces, our beautiful or ugly faces, depending on how you look at it. But we're on YouTube, so please hit that like and subscribe. We got full episodes. We'll put all the segments up there too as their own individual episodes. So we appreciate it.
Hey, let us know how you feel about our show with reviews on Apple Podcasts and our email, realgeeknews@gmail.com.
You can send us some questions, and we might just answer them on the show.
Maybe.
We'll see.
With that all being said, stay safe, stay classy, and most important of all,
stay geeky, my friends.